Am I on?
Okay.
Okay,
Let me ask the question. What do you all have holidays? What holidays are important? Do you celebrate birthdays, Christmas? I don't know, Halloween, 4th of July. What are your holidays in Nigeria?
Yeah, you see, religion plays a course in these holidays, and like I mentioned earlier, that's what makes America different from Nigeria, because here in America, the predominant religion is Christianity, and it's kind of even in Nigeria between Christians and Muslims. So we have Islamic holidays and Christian holidays. So yes, we celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Easter, but when it comes to the Islamic religion, since the this Islamic year is lunar, it's a lunar year. So the holiday of Eid al-Fitr and the holiday of Eid al-Adha or Eid al-Mawlud kind of like it changes every year. And our national day, which is like the Independence Day, is October 1st.
Okay.
So that's coming up next weekend. And we have like Workers' Day, we have Children's Day, we have Women's Day, but I cannot remember exactly when those days are. But
You have Women's Day.
yeah, like
Mother's Day.
stuff like that. We have holidays like that, but when it comes to the national holidays, it's predominantly the Islamic holidays and Christian holidays and the Independence Day, which is October 1st.
Okay. What is the say October 1st is your Independence Day. How do you all celebrate that? Would it be equivalent to the way we celebrate the 4th of July, or what are the differences?
Well, it's sort of equivalent, because the thing is, there are parades everywhere. I mean, the place to be on our Independence Day is the federal capital, which is Abuja, because it's parades. There's a grand parade in the National Stadium in Abuja, and that happens to be where the president resides, which, by the way, is Jonathan Goodluck. That's the name of our president. So, I mean, it's celebrated around the country, and of course, everybody takes a break from work, school, yada yada yada. But the place to be will be in the national capital, Abuja.
Okay. You mentioned your president. What do you think your president is doing about this war that's going on between the religions? Does he openly state which religion what his belief is?
Yeah, he's Christian, and our capital is in the north, Abuja, but it's still kind of mixed, as in between Christians and Muslims. So it's been quite challenging for him, since he's in a region that's predominantly Islamic, and I believe he is just doing his best as presidents in the past. This is just one of the dirty things that they have to, work on. There really isn't much the president can do but his best.
What would you say is the main difference over there with Christianity and Islamic belief-wise?
Well, can you repeat that question again?
Well, what is the difference? Like, what do you think is the main issue between why the Christians and the Islamic cannot coincide, basically, peacefully? Like, for example, here we have Christianity, but we have different denominations. I don't know if there are different denominations in Nigeria, or we have like Jews and Islamics, Muslims and Jehovah's Witnesses, and we all kind of coincide. I would say peacefully, to where it's not.
It's not fatal.
Yeah.
Well, in my country, when it comes to Christianity, it's like like some other countries, there are still some divisions within, like the Baptist, Methodist.
Oh, okay, so y'all do have the different denominations.
Exactly. And when it comes to Islam, well, to an extent, there really isn't much of a division. But for the mere hatred of the next person who doesn't believe in what you believe, that is the major complex when it comes to the violence that is related to one's religion.
Okay. So what about like we all as Americans kind of stick under the freedom of speech and the right to bear arms and choose whatever religion you would like, and we're going to all be here happily and coincide. And
well,
do you all have that? Like, as far as freedom of speech, can you say whatever you would like to say? Like I could say right now, I dislike Barack Obama and I hope he dies tomorrow, and it's my freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want to say about the president or anybody else. Do you all have that same freedom?
To an extent, but not totally. See, I believe the freedom of speech in America is part of the Constitution, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's the same in Nigeria. Since we embraced democracy, it's the government by the people, for the people, but it could be considered treason if you raise your voice against the head of state in that manner. And a lot of journalists, especially, usually are cautious about having that approach because you never know who is listening. And hey, not to say that the presidents of Nigeria are bad men, but there could be some officials who kind of serve like the henchmen. I mean, that's just the layman way to put it. But in general, you have the freedom to say certain things to an extent. I mean, as long as it doesn't cause problems.
How open are you? Well, I'm pretty sure you're pretty open. How open are Nigerian people to Americans who come over, like journalism, like journalists and people of that sort?
Well, we are pretty open, and in general, Americans, when they come over to Nigeria, we do have embassies. We have American embassy in Abuja and and in Lagos. So if it comes to security, I think Americans are generally secure in Nigeria because even though they might be in a foreign country, they still live in Nigeria as Americans under the protection of the American consulate.
Okay. One thing that I believe we missed is the entertainment. How is entertainment different here from Nigeria? Like, do you all have actors and actresses? And I know you have soccer. What about some of the other American sports or entertainment? Our phones, how we just pull out our phones and can get on Facebook or get on YouTube, or we have a lot of things to keep us inside opposed to outside, or even outside. We have a lot of technology. Or how is entertainment different?
Well, we do embrace Western technology in general. We embrace the social networking tradition of the West. We embrace all of that, and we do have actors and actresses. When it comes to America and the movie industry known as Hollywood, we also have ours. Ours is called Nollywood, and ours is the largest in the world after Hollywood and Bollywood of India. So I forgot to mention that it's Hollywood, Bollywood, then Nollywood of Nigeria.
Okay. And what about the sports?
Oh, yeah, sports.
Different sports do you have?
Our primary sport, the sport of the nation, is football. That's what we call it, but soccer in America.
Okay.
And then we have basketball, baseball, no baseball, volleyball, and we know track and field events, boxing, and pretty much most of the sports that that you can partake in Summer Olympics, because we don't partake in the Winter Olympics. We only partake in Summer Olympics.
Oh, okay. Okay. Why is that?
Well, maybe it's because of our weather. I mean, we are from the tropical region, so we don't experience fall or winter. So the weather pretty much stays the same summer-wise.
Okay.
We just have rainy season and dry season.
Okay. Beauty-wise, what is seen as beauty there in Nigeria opposed to what we in America constitute as a beautiful person or stylish, like the trends, the fashion? What is the difference?
That question is a very deep one, and the reason why is because there are so many cultures within Nigeria, and it depends on the tribe. Certain tribes define what is pretty to them. Like in some cultures, before a woman is given away to marriage, she goes through a fattening room, so she can become a little more buxom, because it's a symbol of her ability to bear kids. And then, what else? And then in some cultures, a woman might see, they have a choice of what they consider manly. Now you have some, there's a term here that is called metrosexuality. A man is just so conscious about his appearance, whereas that isn't, to some extent, that isn't really significant in certain cultures, because sometimes they believe that the more a man is, there's certain things that are considered manly in, he has to smell good, no problem, but if that is all he cares about, then apparently he doesn't even have time to do the real work that real men do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Exactly.
And
among some other things that I can only think of at the moment.
What about the roles? Like a man's role and a woman's role. How strict?
It's becoming more androgynous now. However, the roles, the gender roles still plays a part. I mean, there are still a lot of housewives, because a woman is supposed to be the primary homemaker, whereas the man is the breadwinner. But there are more women who are working these days, who are actually playing the role. But at the end of the day, even though a woman has a career and everything like that, it still comes back to our culture that the woman is actually the primary homemaker, while the man is the primary breadwinner.
Okay. So it's kind of the same here, or would you say there's still a significant difference?
I'll say there's a huge difference.
Would you say the women in Nigeria do more or less? Like, what is the main thing that as a family, like your parents, push, like as of importance in Nigeria? Like as far as like women, here our main thing is basically now education. Women are the most educated. When people in America, you find more girls in the classroom than you would guys in any classroom across the board in America. So would you say that's the same, or?
To an extent, is becoming the same. I mean, Nigeria in general is a developing country. I mean, it wasn't always like that, but it's like more women are embracing education as a whole, and parents in general are stressing it even for the daughters. But in some local villages, some local communities, let's say for example, my parents, I'm just presuming here, my parents they have me and my sister. Well, I will be the one going to school, whereas my mom will be, it's like my sister will be undergoing a sort of homeschooling within the house, how to make her more domesticated. Whereas I'll be the one out there in school getting better off, so that in the long run I'll be the breadwinner. At the end of the day, she equally gets her education as a homemaker.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So
Yeah,
basically,
still like that sense.
she's still doing her part
Exactly.
by being domesticated in a sense, so she would know how to take care of her husband.
Exactly, and
or
the kids.
yes.
And even though the Western world sees it as primitive, to some extent, that isn't bad either, because the woman is still being educated in a way. I mean, in our culture, what's the point of having a career woman as a wife who can't even hold something down in the kitchen? You know, something like that?
Yeah, no.
So at the end of the day, there is still a cultural aspect when it comes to what exactly is education.
Okay. So it's still, whereas here it may not be perceived as education. You're just staying home, or you're just taking care of the kids. You're doing basically here kind of perceived as the bare minimum, whereas in Nigeria, it is education.
Exactly.
They're making sure that you can cook, sew, clean, take care of home, basically.
And teach the younger girls.
Okay.
And like I mentioned earlier, our community, Nigeria is becoming more androgynous. So the man too can do things in the house, just like the woman can also go out there and make a living.
Okay. Last question, what are the top careers in Nigeria?
Medicine, engineering, accounting, law.
Wow.
I mean, because so many times these people are held at the highest esteem. When someone says, oh, I'm a doctor, oh, I'm an accountant, oh, I'm a barrister, that's what we call our lawyers. And what else? Engineers. My dad is a retired engineer.
Okay.
Yeah. And when it comes to politics, I guess it really doesn't matter what your job, what kind of job or career you had. Once you have the funds, the means,
Sure.
the rapport amongst your peers, you could actually get into politics.
Okay, so anybody could really stand up and decide to be a political figure.
Oh, even women now, yeah.
Even women now.
Yeah.
When did that change? Has it been recently, or has it been a few years? Has it been a while?
We've embraced democracy for about a decade now. So let's say since 1999 when we embraced it, yeah.
Okay.
So in recent years, or in the past, they weren't open to that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for helping me conduct this interview.
And you're very welcome.